today we celebrate St. Irenaeus of Lyon in the calendar. Someone that most people probably haven't really heard of. He died in the year 200, and he was a disciple of someone with an even more obscure name, Polycarp. Polycarp was a follower of St. John, who wrote the fourth gospel. So there's a clear lineage of a sort of passing on of authority from Christ through to Irenaeus. And this is kind of a key point to where Irenaeus is coming from, because he speaks quite forcefully at times in his writings against the heresies of the time. And you might think, why be bothered with heresies when you're running an underground movement of probably, by the 2nd, 3rd century, a few 100,000 people across the Roman Empire? Isn't there enough problems to deal with just existing underneath the persecution that Rome was putting under? Why start kind of having all this infights? But for Irenaeus, it was crucial, and thank God he did, to actually mark out what was Christianity and what was not. And two particular kind of heresies that he worked against. Heresies are different kind of versions of Christianity that aren't traditional, orthodox, aren't authentic. The first unauthentic version was a hyper-conservative group of believers who held that their leaders, and only their leaders, had a kind of prophetic superpower from God, that God's Spirit could reveal to them new and better revelations, and that people were to not just take note of that, but to kind of sit at the feet of these folks. In other words, it was a cult. They also did some kind of fairly extreme kind of aesthetic thing, and dressed people up in really sort of weird and extreme ways. So Irenaeus works against them. And then the other kind of bigger heresy, what we call Gnosticism, was this idea that there are secret knowledge of the Christian faith that you can only get if you kind of ascend and are prepared to go higher and higher into the structures of the organisation. And again, this is a bit of a cultic thing to do, though it's more bourgeois. It would be as if I said to Fred, well, Fred, if you come into the vestry, I've got a Bible with additional pages, and because I trust you and you've done some preparation with me, I'm going to show you there's additional pages that no one else has seen. And then I say to Arthur, well, guess what? In the vestry safe, there's even more pages, and I'm going to show you those. And I'm only going to show them to you. I'm not going to show them to Fred or anyone else, because you've been kind of going with the religious program with me. And of course, that's a massive kind of ego boost, isn't it? And it's a secret society. And it's just silly, because what the Christians, the early church were so keen to show was that the Christian religion was available to everyone. It was general, or to use the small c, it was Catholic. What was in the book was in the book, and there was nothing else. There was no kind of further secrets that were being kept from anyone. It was open to all, whether you were Caesar or a slave or a deckhand on a galley or a local magistrate. Everyone got the same Jesus, the same Bible, the same sacraments, the church. And Irenaeus kind of worked quite hard on that, and from that kind of emerges a sense of Christianity as a global movement, which holds to a belief of God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, that has 4 Gospels, that has an authority structure, which isn't cultic, but a bit like what later on Benedict would explore in his rule. It is about people giving service to each other, managing, stewarding each other, that the leaders don't have superpowers. They're just people who've been chosen because of their qualities of character and holiness to that specific role. And so from Irenaeus emerges a sense of a general Christianity which is open and accessible to everyone in the empire, and says the same thing, whether it's in Lyon, where he was the bishop, or in Palestine. The message is the same, that it's uniform, though it might be expressed differently, and that there are no secrets, and that the leaders don't have magic powers, but rely solely on God himself. And one of the wonderful things that he says, which I think picks up on Genesis chapter 1, which is so key to the whole Bible. God made man in his image, male and female he made them. He says that the glory of a human being, the glory of God is a human being fully alive. The glory of God is a human being fully alive. That what God seeks for the very apex of his creation is for a happy, fulfilled and blessed humanity, and this gives glory to him. Thank you very much.